Good evening. The big story we've been tracking, the developments in the Karnataka High Court looking at the issue on whether Muslim students, women students can wear the hijab and enter educational institutes. A couple of key points which came up today in the hearing. One of the lawyers brought up the point on why pick on hijabs alone. The lawyer said that there are hundreds of religious symbols. Why is the government picking on hijab and asking for a ban? The Chief Justice says we've taken note of this. The Chief Justice doesn't permit an intervention in the hearing against pro-hijab petitions. The Karnataka government does, however, get 2 days to file its objections. The petitioner's lawyer says that girls with bindis or bangles or a cross are not sent out of school. The petitioner's lawyer says, why are only hijab-wearing students being sent out? The lawyer for the pro-hijab plea says, we are not permitted, we are not heard, but punished straight away, to which the Chief Justice says, you are saying that Article 15 prohibits discrimination on the basis of religion, but this is saying wearing of the headdress of all religions is banned, to which the petitioner's lawyer says hijab is worn only by Muslims, ghungats are permitted, bangles are permitted. Need to point out, these are only observations and it doesn't at all reflect what the court will ultimately order. Meanwhile, colleges are open. Several Muslim students wanting to come to school with their hijabs were told, if you want to study at the moment, you need to take off the hijab. Many students chose not to do that and returned home.
A few weeks ago, colleges allowed hijab-clad students into class. Today, as they reopened after last week's protests, many colleges blocked them, citing the High Court's interim order disallowing all religious clothing inside institutions. On the first day, in the Vijaypura City Government College, when students were stopped from entering classes, they made a forced entry, arguing with the college administration.
ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಆದೇಶವನ್ನು ಪಾಲಿಸಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಅವರು ನಾವು ತೆಗೆಯೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಹಿಜಾಬನ್ನ ಅವ್ರಿಗೊಂದು ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಕೋಣೆ ಮಾಡೀವಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ನಾವು ತೆಗೆಯೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ.
Sensing trouble, the college principal informed the cops. The students were then asked to leave the premises. The same played out in other colleges. Around 40 students at the Empress School in Tumkuru district in burqa and hijabs were stopped by the teachers. The Empress High School in Tumkuru district of Karnataka had earlier allowed the students to wear the hijab and attend classes. But now they say they are enforcing the High Court's interim order. Tension at DVS Pre-University College in Shivamogga district after 30 students were denied entry.
ಪಿಟಿಷನರು ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅದು ವಾದ ವಿವಾದ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಆದೇಶನ ಉಲ್ಲಂಘನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ನೀವು ಹೋಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
Around 30 students walked out of the college when they were asked to remove the hijabs. The college administration says High Court's interim order says no religious garments allowed. The crux of the problem is this. Many of the colleges have CDCs, the College Development Committee, which have prescribed uniforms. But hijabs are not included in many of them. Yet colleges have allowed students to wear hijabs and attend classes in the past. But after protests have snowballed, the colleges now cite the High Court's interim order, which says the CDC's rules must be imposed.
So had you allowed them to wear hijabs or burqas inside the classrooms before?
Before this?
Yes.
So that direction, the interim order...
So I am Dr. Bhaskar Shetty.
Towards the end, it does say the college institutions can still follow whatever you all have followed, the prescribed uniform. So why is it now? Why the change now?
See, as per the directions of the Honorable High Court of Karnataka, we have decided. That's all.
But students say that the administration is helpless because they are forced to follow the High Court's interim order.
हम लोगों को अच्छे से बोला गया है, अभी कोर्ट का ऑर्डर आया है ना, हम लोग क्या डिसीजन ले सकते हैं?
While the High Court continues to hear a batch of petitions on the hijab controversy, many students across the state are losing out on their classes and their right to education. Now these are the very schools and colleges that has allowed students in the past to wear hijab and attend classes. What changed? Is it just the conspiracy, or is this an agenda that's being set for the upcoming assembly polls in 2023? In Udupi, with camera person Govind Murthy, Shrija for NDTV.
Meanwhile, Mr. Siddaramaiah has just tweeted, he says, while this was a stormy session of the assembly, we will boycott sessions in both the houses if the minister, Mr. Ishwarappa, who insulted our national flag, is not charged with sedition and dismissed by Thursday 11 a.m. Now, I need to put this in context. What essentially took place is Mr. Ishwarappa, who apparently said that a saffron flag would one day become the national flag. That triggered widespread criticism in the Karnataka Assembly, to which Mr. Siddaramaiah has made that reaction. The crucial assembly polls in Punjab have found a major Uttar Pradesh connection today on the occasion of Guru Ravidas Jayanti. Top politicians, including those from Punjab, visited a prominent temple in Varanasi, located in an area that is the birthplace of the 14th century social reformer and spiritual leader who is an influential icon for Dalits, especially in Punjab. Prime Minister Modi visited a Ravidas temple in Delhi and then made multiple references to Guru Ravidas at an election speech in Pathankot.
The battle for Punjab's substantial scheduled caste votes playing out miles away in UP and even Delhi on Ravidas Jayanti, the birth anniversary of the 14th century social reformer and spiritual leader. An icon among the SC community there, the political big guns made a beeline to Varanasi, the saint's birthplace. At 4 a.m., it was Charanjit Singh Channi, Punjab's Chief Minister, the first SC1, followed by UP Chief Minister Adityanath, Congress leaders Rahul Gandhi and his sister Priyanka, as well as the Aam Aadmi Party's Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Singh. Prime Minister Modi first went to this Ravidas temple in Delhi and later at an election rally in Punjab's Pathankot with a giant poster of the saint made this political pitch.
Sant Ravidas ji ki bhi jayanti hai. यहाँ आने से पहले मैं दिल्ली में गुरु रविदास विश्राम धाम मंदिर जाकर आया हूं, आशीर्वाद लेकर के आया हूं। पंजाब से भी बड़ी संख्या में हमारे साथी लाखों श्रद्धालु उनकी जन्मस्थली बनारस गए हुए हैं। यहां के मेरे सभी साथियों की सहूलियत के लिए रेलवे ने 2 विशेष ट्रेन भी चलाई है और बनारस के सांसद के नाते ये मेरी जिम्मेवारी बनती है।
It's a 1200-kilometer long journey for the Ravidasis, who, with their 13.1% population, dominate the Dalit discourse in Punjab politics. And their dominance can be gauged by the fact that every political party appealed the Election Commission to defer the polling dates to enable this pilgrimage, and finally, even the Election Commission had to agree.
Punjab has 34 reserved seats out of 117, and more than a third of the state's population are SCs. 10 of the state's 23 districts have more than 30% SCs, predominantly the Ravidasis and Valmikis. Most of these districts fall in the Doaba region, the hub of SC politics in Punjab.
मैं हर साल आती हूँ, इस साल और भी अच्छा लगा क्योंकि भैया है मेरे साथ।
संत रविदास जी के अनमोल विचार हैं, कोई भी व्यक्ति छोटा या बड़ा अपने कर्म से होता है, ऊंच या नीच अपने कर्म से होता है, जाति से नहीं होता।
In Delhi, the government announced a last-minute holiday for schools. The Akali Dal, also a major player in Punjab, tweeted about Guru Ravidas's message against social discrimination. With Ajay Singh and Mohammad Ghazali, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister, who we mentioned was in Pathankot, made this election pitch.
भारत माता की party.
At his rally in the border district of Pathankot, Prime Minister Modi invoked Pakistan and national security to criticize opposition parties.
इन्होंने शहीदों की शहादत पर कीचड़ उछालने का पाप किया था कि नहीं किया था? और आप देखिए पुलवामा के हमले की बरसी पर भी ये कांग्रेस के लोग अपनी पाप लीला को बंद नहीं कर पाए, बाज नहीं आ रहे हैं। नरेंद्र मोदी जिंदाबाद।
Pathankot, which has its borders with Pakistan, Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh and is one of the 10 segments of the Gurdaspur Lok Sabha seat, is considered to be a BJP stronghold with a predominantly Hindu population.
यही हमारा संकल्प है। यही वो लोग हैं जिन्होंने राम मंदिर के निर्माण को रोकने के लिए पूरी ताकत लगा दी थी। मजबूत पंजाब बनवाऊंगा।
Interestingly, while the top leadership of the state BJP unit was on stage with the Prime Minister, the Gurdaspur MP Sunny Deol himself was missing, nor was his name mentioned by the PM.
पंजाब के सपनों को मौका दीजिए।
Though the Prime Minister's address focused on the issue of national security and other poll promises, youth participating in the rally said it's rising unemployment which is a bigger concern.
ਜੇਕਰ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੀਜੇਪੀ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਆਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਜਵਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮੌਕੇ ਮਿਲਣਗੇ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੈਰਾਂ ਤੇ ਖੜੇ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੁਜ਼ਗਾਰ ਮਿਲੂਗਾ।
ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਵਾਤੇ। ਓਵਰਆਲ ਪੂਰੇ ਡਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 6 ਸਕਿੱਲ ਡਿਵੈਲਪਮੈਂਟ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਸੀਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦੀਨ ਦਿਆਲ ਉਪਾਧਿਆਏ ਸਕੀਮ ਦੇ ਤਹਿਤ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਬੰਦ ਪਏ ਨੇ। ਹਾਂ, ਪੰਜਾਬ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਵਾਤੇ।
Pathankot is considered to be the stronghold for BJP and all stakes are high for the party as its state president is locked in a four-way contest. And now with Prime Minister Modi having addressed one rally in Majha, other one in Doaba and is expected to address another one in Malwa region of Punjab, the party hopes that it can emerge as a formidable force on March 10. With Ashwini Mehra in Pathankot, Mohammad Ghazali for NDTV.
Well, controversy on the election trail in Punjab with the Congress chief ministerial candidate, Mr. Channi, saying that no bhaiyas from UP, Delhi, Bihar are allowed here. He said this in the presence of Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, who cheered on even though she heads the Congress charge in Uttar Pradesh in these elections. And Arvind Kejriwal, responding to what that video you saw over there, says this is very shameful. Our country is one.
ये बहुत शर्म की बात है कि किसी भी ये हमारा पूरा देश एक है। किसी भी व्यक्ति को, मेरे को भी वो काला 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 कहते रहते हैं। किसी भी व्यक्ति के बारे में, किसी भी वर्ग विशेष के बारे में गलत टिप्पणी करना, हम इसकी कड़ी निंदा करते हैं।
प्रियंका गांधी भी तो यूपी को बिलोंग करती है,
तो वो भी तो भैया हो गई।
And the BJP leader Tejasvi Surya has tweeted. He says Priyanka Vadra ji comes to Uttar Pradesh and calls herself a daughter of UP, and in Punjab she claps, and when insults are hurled at people from UP and Bihar, these are her double standards. Meanwhile, if the Aam Aadmi Party chief Arvind Kejriwal attacked Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, he himself was attacked by his former Aam Aadmi Party colleague Kumar Vishwas.
आघात से अभी उबरे नहीं थे, उस शोक में ही पूरा देश है, अभी तक भी उसकी लहर महसूस कर सकते हैं। एक ऐसा आदमी जिसने एक समय में मुझे ये तक कहा था, जब मैंने उसको कहा कि ये जो फ्रिंज एलिमेंट हैं, जो अलगाववादी संगठन हैं, जो खालिस्तानी मूवमेंट से जुड़े हुए लोग हैं, इनका साथ मत ले पिछले चुनाव में, और उसने कहा था कि नहीं हो जाएगा, चिंता मत कर। और कैसे चीफ मिनिस्टर बनेगा तो उसने उसका फार्मूला भी बताया था कि ऐसे ऐसे भगवंत को और फुल्का जी को लड़वा दूंगा और मैं पहुंच जाऊंगा। एक दिन तो मुझसे कहता है कि तू चिंता मत कर, या तो मैं एक स्वतंत्र सूबे का मुख्यमंत्री बनूंगा। और मैंने कहा ये अलगाववाद 2020 का रेफरेंडम आ रहा है, पूरी दुनिया फंडिंग कर रही है ISI से लेके और बाकी अलगाववादी ग्रुप। तो कहता तो क्या हो गया, तो स्वतंत्र देश का पहला प्रधानमंत्री बनूंगा। मतलब जिस आदमी के थॉट में इतनी ज्यादा अलगाववाद को लेके वो हो कि किसी भी कीमत पे बस मुझे सरकार मिले, सत्ता मिले।